The only difference between success and failure is the ability to take action by Alexander Graham Bell. And that is what our show is all about this week. What is stopping us from taking action? And this week's episode is brought to you by the Confidence Catalyst, a free 7-day kickstart to your confidence. And if you would like some extra confidence in your back pocket as you take action towards your dreams, just go to petrakulber.com/quick start. Last week, I did a social media post about the 4 things that get in our way, especially when it comes to procrastination. And I call them the 4 C's of procrastination. And it got such a great response. I thought, let me flush this out a little bit more and make this into this week's podcast. So there are things that stop us from doing the things that we know we need to be doing. And I call them the 4 C's. They are clarity, consistency, confidence, and comparison. And in this show, I'm going to use my personal pain point of procrastination, which is around my finances, and share with you how I'm helping to get myself unstuck and use those lessons to help you in your journey. For people with ambition or dreams or hopes, there is nothing worse than knowing there are things that you need to be doing, and for some reason, you just keep hitting against a wall. So let's talk about the first roadblock we often come against, and that is clarity. What is the next thing I need to do to move myself forward toward whatever it is that I want to achieve? Here's where I see a lot of people get stuck. They know what their goal is, but they don't know what the first step is. And they start with the first step. And because they don't know what that is, they get stuck. So let's assume that you know your goal. And I'm going to use an example today of holding a party. Maybe you know, I want to hold a party, whether it's for yourself or for your kids. And sometimes that can feel so overwhelming. We never get to even having the party because we were so stuck at it just seems like too much. So using a party as an example, I'm going to invite you to reverse engineer your goal. So instead of thinking about what is my first step, think about what is my last step and write that down first. And then slowly and surely, you're going to back out of that and write each step that you need to take to get to the next step. This is often so much easier for our brain because we're not battling the idea of, I don't know. It's, oh, I already see the end point. And when you reverse engineer out of that, you give yourself enough steps, enough micro steps to have success along the way. And you're not getting hung up on what is the next best thing I should be doing. So using the party as an example, what is the last step that you would need to take to have that entire event, be it in the afternoon or the evening, be a success? First of all, we want to imagine, what does a great party look like? It might be guests that got on with each other, great music, a fantastic environment, good food, good energy. We can embody and envision what our end goal is. So the first step really is visualizing and embodying that big goal of yours. Now let's reverse that. Think about right before that party is over, what is the last step that needs to happen to ensure that it's a success? It's actually making sure that your guests get home safely. So if it's a kids' party, you might need to organize transportation or make sure that all the parents are available to pick up their children. And if it's a grown-up party, you might want to make sure that there is a designated driver or that you have Ubers and Lyfts or whatever your mode of transportation is ready to go. Now, before organizing the transportation, there needs to be another plan. What does the end of your party look like? Are you doing a speech? Is there a final song? I always use Last Dance by Donna Summer. It's a great nod to okay, guests, I know you're having a great time, but I need to go to sleep. So how are you going to ensure that the end of the party happens on time? So before the end of the party, what does the body of the party look like? The music. Organizing the music track, the food. Are you doing all the food yourself? Are you having it catered? Is it going to be a potluck? The guests, are they going to come alone? Are you going to invite them to bring somebody new? So you expand the social circle. Is it a kid-only party? Is it a kids and their parents party? Is it a grown-up party? All these things. The guest list wants to be diverse, people that know each other. And if they don't know each other, Maybe you're going to do an icebreaker at the beginning of the party. All these little steps that ensure that that end goal of having a great party has all the odds stacked in its favor for it to happen in a way that your heart desires. Now, before you've got the music and the guests have arrived, you're going to want to probably set up the table where the food is, make sure you have enough ice, set up games, set up decorations, get the music playing, set the environment so that when people walk into the party, there's already an energy to the room. And before that, it's sending out the invitations, letting the guests know if they are required to bring food, sharing with them the details of where it's going to happen, the date, and an RSVP, so you know how many people to get ready for. And so backing up from that, the very first step might be the guest list. It might be even before that, choosing the date, and then even choosing the theme. So then it seems more doable. Instead of going, oh my gosh, I've got this whole big party to get ready for, I don't have time. It's like, first step, let me choose a date. Second step, let me choose a theme. Third step, who do I want to invite? And by reverse engineering your goal, you're going to be able to have more clarity on which step to take. So then for clarity, the very first question you're going to ask yourself, you have that first step. Can I take this first step myself? Do I need to ask someone for help? Or can I go onto the internet for assistance? So now I'm going to use a very personal experience of myself of where I need clarity. I procrastinate around finances, and I am determined this year to get an understanding of where my money is, how my money is doing. Will I be able to retire when I'm 70? Or am I going to be in the back room of my sister's with 5 cats? Haven't ruled that out yet. Okay, only 2 cats. But I need to get clear on where my money should be. And that is not something I can do on my own. That is probably not something I should be going to the internet to. So for me to get my first step, to get clear on what is the very first step I should be taking to help own my own financial responsibility, I am going to need to ask for help. And so for me, step 1 is asking for help. The second thing is consistency. So you've got your plan, you know what it is that you want to be doing, you know how to move forward, but now it's being consistent with your goals. So for me, let's look at money. For me to get to where I want to be, I probably should be investing a little bit each month, even if that's just $10 here, $50 there, $500 there. And there were a couple of years that as I worked for myself, I set aside an automatic deposit of maybe $100 a month going into my retirement account. Have I been consistent with that? No. So that is something I need to start again. I don't quite know the bigger theme of where my money should be sitting. I'm going to ask for that to get more clarity. But once I do, the one thing I could be more consistent in right now is putting a little bit of money aside, auto deposit into my retirement every single month. So we have clarity. We have consistency. So now let's say you have clarity on your goals. You're being consistent to whatever it is you want to achieve. Now, that doesn't have to be around money or a party. It could be creating a podcast. It could be getting out on social media more. It could be writing a book. It could be whatever it is that is meaningful to you, but yet you are not taking inspired action. Sometimes it comes down to confidence. You actually have taken the steps and you are ready to get your thing across the finish line. But now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I've done everything I need to do, but who am I to be doing this? I'm going to go back to my money thing first, and then we're going to talk about confidence. What I needed the confidence to do was actually ask for help. That's where I was getting stuck. I felt a little bit ashamed. We never talked about money in my family, ever. Money was a very unsavory subject. And the only time we ever did talk about money is when I remember my dad got a bonus. I think it was like £100 back in the day, but it was a lot of money. And this is my memory. I remember my mom making our dad show me and my sister the money because he had promised to put that towards a holiday or a vacation. And she knew that if he showed us the money, that would happen. And she also knew the other option could have been he would have drunk or gambled away that money. So money has always been a very, very touchy subject for me. And I've never had a lot of confidence around money. I feel like I should know better. I don't like asking people for help because I feel a bit silly, to be quite honest. And this was the week I actually reached out to ask for help. And it was no small feat, let me tell you. A friend of mine who is very well known, her husband is great with financing, and he often steps onto social media and gives tips. And one of the tips was simple, but not so simple. It was about moving my money from a savings account in a bank, which does 0.000% interest, over to another account that you're guaranteed to get at least 5% in your money. So I did that. I felt really cool because I had clarity about what I needed to do. But I still felt very unclear about all this money, well, not all this money, but the money I have sitting in a retirement account, not doing really what it should be doing. So I built up the confidence and I reached out to her to ask if her husband, if I could pay him to sit down with me and explain a little bit about where my finances are, what he would suggest. He's not a financial planner, so it's not telling me what to do, but I trust this person's opinion. And so I built the confidence in myself, knowing that by asking the question is not a reflection of who I am. It's just a reflection of my lack of knowledge, lack of expertise around finances. So for confidence for you, let's say it's not finances. Let's say you've done the work, you got clear about your goals, you did the work consistently, and now you're ready to put your thing out into the world. You're like, oh, this confidence, I just don't know. Who am I? The imposter syndrome comes in. I haven't done this before. If you've never done something before, but you've done the work, no, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And you are going to feel like an imposter because you've never done it before, but it should not stop you because you've done the work. I teach a lot about confidence. And again, if you're looking for more confidence, please go to petrakulber.com/quick start. It's a short 7-day series that drops into your inbox every morning with a little action step of how to build confidence. But confidence is not a straight line. It's a circle. We put our idea or our thing out into the world. We assess how it is going without the assessment being a judgment of who we are. We look and clarify what is going well. We're going to keep that. What could maybe be tweaked? Okay, maybe I'll change that and keep that. Or what could be let go? And we just leave that in the past. And then we don't stop. We then do iteration 2. We put it out there. We try. We apply. We assess. We see what needs to be changed, and we go around and around in a circle. I call it the circle of confidence. Confidence is not a straight line because the closer you get to your goals, the more confidence you're going to need. So again, confidence is just like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. But here's one thing I want to share with you, and we'll do a whole show about confidence. But if I could change one thing about confidence, it would be this statement. But this is the truth, and it's not a comfortable truth. Actions of confidence always come before feelings of confidence. If you wait to feel confident to do the thing, you'll be waiting forever. Competence creates confidence, but competence happens in action. And you've heard me say before, great ideas die in isolation, in your brain, in your heart, in your computer. They thrive in collaboration. Your confidence grows and thrives in collaboration by getting your ideas out there and by separating the outcome from who you are, by separating the idea of failure or success. And it's simply an iteration that once out in the world, you can get feedback or feed forward and figure out what is working, what could be done differently, and what needs to be left behind. So we have clarity. We know what we're meant to be doing. We have consistency. We're doing the steps. We have built the confidence. We have our thing out into the world. And then we compare. If I'm comparing my financial state, even to my sister's, I'm in serious trouble. My sister has been in the corporate world nonstop for like 20 years. I'm so proud of her. And I used to always be her plan B. She's now my plan B. But if I was to compare my retirement account to my sister's, I would be paralyzed because I'm not even close to where she is. But I've worked for myself for like almost 30 years. And my journey has been so joyful. I mean, There's maybe 3 days I can think that it felt like a working day because everything I've done has been in alignment with my values, has made my heart sing. How blessed am I to have the life that I've had? And that did not always build financial stability. I think I've done well. I saved well when I was with Reebok and making good money. I saved well last year when I was with a corporate job for the first time. 401k, what is that? Thank you very much. And yet there is still a big gap between where I am and where I need to be able to retire and travel and not be a burden to those that I love. So whatever it is that you're doing, keep in your lane. When you use others for comparison, as we've all heard so many times, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you're comparing your day one to someone else's year one, your year one to someone else's decade of experience, you don't know the backstory. We see this overnight success of the people that we admire, but you haven't seen the 7 years of planting seeds, the wins and the misses and the perceived failures for that overnight success to happen. So use others to learn from. Absolutely. Use others around you in the same space for inspiration. What is working for them? What are they doing well? Borrow that, learn from it, use it. What are the things that you like about them? But don't compare who you are to what they're doing. Use it as fuel for your future versus a weapon against yourself. I hope this helps. The next time you get stuck, write down the 4 C's. Do I need more clarity? Do I need more consistency? Do I need more confidence? Or do I need to stop comparing myself to others? And this way you can stop waiting and start sharing your incredible voice and message with the world.